Blackbeard's next victim, Drummond. More Whitebeard connections by legendary anime. Hi everyone, Flying Panda. Marshall D. Teach next victim will be revealed in this video, and this will be a new character who have not yet seen yet in the series. Shocking and exciting it might sound, with this really complete Blackbeard. During his introduction, the two deaths that have been highlighted and committed by Blackbeard has been Thatch and Edward Newgate, also known as Whitebeard. Thatch found the Yomi Yomi Nomi, the devil fruit that Blackbeard was after for a long time. The devil fruit was the very reason that Blackbeard joined the Whitebeard Pirates. Because of the rule on Whitebeard's ship is that the one who finds the devil fruit is the one allowed to eat it. Teach murdered Thatch and ran off with it, leaving his former commander Porticus D. Ace to hunt him down for revenge. And of course, Whitebeard, whose death was a devastating blow to the balance of the power of the world. Because of this great power and influence, many of the islands he controlled protectorate descendants into anarchy as pirates began invading his territory. One of the more prominent pirates was his assassin, Blackbeard, who took over most of Whitebeard's territory and usurped his previous status of YONKO. Now we reveal the final victim that will be murdered by Blackbeard, and that is Drummond. Just who was Drummond? The name Drummond is another name linked with the real-life legend and pirate Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard. The name is an earlier source, then there are Thatch, Teach. History cannot confirm what's Blackbeard's real name, was as there is little evidence to support, and the fact that the pirates were known to conceal their real identity so as to not tarnish the family name. That aside, this is still yet another link to Blackbeard and a possibility to Whitebeard as well. It's strange how Edward Newgate, Whitebeard, had both Thatch and Teach as crew members, with all three sharing the connections with the real-life Blackbeard. This was confirmed by Oda, seeing a resemblance between Thatch's name and that of the real-life pirate known as Blackbeard, Edward Thatch. A fan asked Oda in a SBS question if Thatch was based on the real-life Blackbeard along with Edward Newgate and Marshall D. Teach. Oda replied to the fan that he's indeed based Thatch's name on the real-life Blackbeard. However, the similarities is in the name only. He's one of three characters whose name comes from the real-life Blackbeard, otherwise known as Edward Teach, the other being Marshall D. Teach and Thatch. Teach's name and epithet is taken from real-life pirate Blackbeard, since all the real pirates owe him more than anything he likes. However, his real name was Edward Teach and not Marshall D. Teach. The first name was given to Edward Newgate. Blackbeard's original name was Edward Drummond, and he began his career sailing out of his home port of Bristol, England. After he became a pirate, he changed his name to Edward Teach, which is a name that most people relate to Blackbeard the Pirate. This opens up the idea that there is a fourth connection to Blackbeard, that link being Drummond. Given the rarity of his name and the fact it's not widely known, Drummond could very well be the legendary pirate we've been waiting for, as I spoke about in my last video. If him being on Wano for most of his time, he could be trying to trace the whereabouts of the royal poneglyphs. If he has connections to Whitebeard, as I said in the last video, had different ideologies than to Whitebeard, then he may have disbanded from the crew in search of One Piece. The fact that Whitebeard had knowledge of the whereabouts of the One Piece, but chose not to act upon the information, may have driven Drummond to question Whitebeard's capability as captain and even as a pirate. Drummond has a second connection to Blackbeard. The clues are given in his name and where it was first mentioned of Blackbeard took place. Drum Island. Wappo was the first character to mention Blackbeard in the series, and it is the first place he heard of Blackbeard attacking Drum Kingdom. Drum Island, Drum Kingdom, Drummond. We could be clutching at straws here, but the connections are there. It might have been for this reason that Blackbeard went to Drum Island in the first place. Maybe Drummond has a strong relationship to that island and Blackbeard thought he might find him there. What if Blackbeard sought after Drummond What was his reasons? We know at the time Blackbeard was starting his own journey and was devising a plan to strengthen his crew and to become a warlord. Could his target have been Drummond for Luffy? Blackbeard hadn't set his sights on Luffy until their first encounter, and even then Blackbeard had no clue of Luffy's real bounty or threat to the government. Which is why it wasn't until he learned of Luffy's 1 million berry bounty that he set his sights on him, as he would have made a good offering to the world government. This then adds to the possibility that Drummond is a well-known pirate and has a high bounty on his head. After all, Blackbeard wasn't after small fry. But what about now? What would Blackbeard do if he came face to face with Drummond? I did mention, what if Drummond was part of the original Whitebeard crew and he had reason enough to believe that Drummond and Blackbeard were part of the original Whitebeard crew. But perhaps they weren't on best of terms or even saw eye to eye. Even if Drummond had fallen out with Whitebeard, we believe there was still a mortal amount of respect between the two. A word has reached Drummond of Whitebeard's fate, and the reason for it, Drummond may try to seek justice on behalf of his former captain and friend. However, Drummond may very well meet the same fate as each of the other two Edward Thatch had, and meet his end at the hands of Teach. Thus, Drummond would be the end of the cycle between Teach and the real Blackbeard connections. And the question is, would Drummond be the legend that would face off to Luffy in the Wano arc, or would he be an ally and get defeated? At the moment it is hard to decide, but I'm sure from all the evidence that we have seen, we can be sure that Drummond will exist in One Piece. Now, if we take into account there are 3 types of devil fruits, and it's why I speculate that Blackbeard has 3 or will have 3, this can explain 3 names, which means 3 devil fruits. But then again, as I mentioned, there's now 4 names. This could lead to the old theory I mentioned before, that there is 4 dimensions in his body. As it's been stated that Blackbeard has a weird body, which implies he's different from other humans. This means Blackbeard is the only person to hold 3 devil fruits within himself. That is to say, if someone else had gained a darkness devil fruit and tried to eat it more than one, they would die like everyone else. The question is, what makes Blackbeard different from everyone else? Many theories have covered the very subject, and I myself have tried in the past. Now, thanks to the painstaking research, I believe I may have found the final answer. Taking into account what Marco says, it's known that Blackbeard is not a normal human, and what Luffy and Zoro say is a key clue. It's not him, it's them. Probably this statement has been at the core of every Blackbeard theory regarding the powers, as the comment suggests, he might be more than one person. Imagine he's all 4: Edward, Newgate, Thatch, Marshall D. Teach, and Drummond. I'm not saying he's a twin or a parasite of some sort. No, my idea is much more depth than that. It's a question of his age. How old is he? He seems to be around 40 years old, but what if he's much older? What if he's lived more than once? We expect that people who have had the immortal surgery done on them by the Ope Ope Nobi fruit do and still grow old and age, but they retain their strengths. But is that what happened to Blackbeard? In my opinion, no, I don't believe Blackbeard had the immortal surgery done to him. There is little evidence to support the idea, even if he had. What would be the point? The idea I have is connected to the Darkness Devil Fruit powers. There is secret power within it, known only to the user, and is connected to all 4 of those people to make Blackbeard complete. Thanks for watching this video. It was written by Legendary Anime. Please watch part 1 if you haven't, to see if Drummond, the legendary enemy that Luffy will face off. Please hit like, and if you haven't, please subscribe to Flying Panda. And please do check out my 25,000 subscribers special. It's done by a lot of my friends on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy it if you haven't seen it already. If you have seen it, then watch it again. I'll see you guys soon.